Oh, this guy, huh? Dancing, huh? Alright. This guy's, oh, someone's smarter than I am.
Woo!
Alright.
Yeah!
Alright, so I'd like to start off by saying I'm a single uncle of 3. Right? And being single is great. I love being single, except you're bored a lot, right? You don't hear people with kids talking about how I'm bored because they got shit to do, right? Which is why I like being an uncle, because then I get to rent a kid when I want to. You know what I mean? Because there's childish shit I still like to do, but I can't do as a 27-year-old single man by myself. Right? Like, I want to go to the arcade and play video games for 8 hours, right? 27-year-old John can't go to the arcade and play video games for 8 hours. 27-year-old John with a nephew can go to the arcade all day, right? Yeah, like I want to feed ducks. 27-year-old single John can't just go feed ducks by himself. It looks weird. 27-year-old John with a nephew, a loaf of bread, it's a day, right? But I love hanging out with my nephew. He's a cool little kid. He cracks me up. You know, he said the funniest thing when I was with him recently. I mean, the kid's funny. All right, there was a stray cat outside, and it was cold. You know, he's a nice kid, so he grabs the cat, and he brings it inside, and he's playing with it for a little bit. And so I asked him, I was like, hey, Matt, is that cat a boy or a girl? He goes, I don't know, Uncle Johnny. I was like, well, check. And he's like, well, how do I check? So I tell him, I'm like, hey, man, you just gotta lift up his tail and look. So he does, right? He's looking at this thing for like a minute, just confused. Don't know what the fuck he's looking at. So after a minute, I ask him, I'm like, hey, Matt, what is it? And he goes, you know, Uncle John, I don't know what this thing is, but it's got 2 buttholes. Hey, you know, that's a true story, right? That's a true story, right? But, so I do comedy, right? And I tell people I do comedy, and what do they say? Always. All right, yeah, tell me a joke. Tell me a joke, right? And they sit there and judge me, man. Fuck them. I don't do that to other people. Like, I'm not talking to a guy, and I'm like, hey, so what do you do for a living? I'm a mechanic. Oh, yeah? Yeah? You change that tire. Oh, yeah, I just want to see how good you are. Go ahead and change that tire, you know, so I can judge you, motherfucker. Alright, so I do comedy, I'm a young comic. So you know what that means, right? Yeah, I'm poor. It sucks being poor because you got to use stuff around the house outside its original intent. You know how many times I've used computer paper as a paper towel? Alright, you try to wipe your face, get paper cuts and shit, you know? Then you get hot sauce from that burrito usually. Yeah, it sucks. Terrible. And you can never afford toilet paper and coffee filters in the same week. Right? Like last week I had to use toilet paper as a coffee filter, and this week, you know, I got coffee filters. But that ain't the only thing. You know, when you're broke, you never have a bar of soap. A full bar. You just have enough in the soap dish to fit on one finger, right? You know how long it takes to shower with one finger? Just... That shit takes a long time. That shit sucks. But how many people here smoke weed? Yeah. Alright, nobody. I guess I'm the only one. So when I smoke weed, I get lazy. Lazy, so lazy you just make extra work for yourself, right? Like when I make something to eat, I never have a clean fork. So instead of just cleaning a fork, right, you look around like 10 minutes for something else to use. You're like, man, I know I got a plastic fork from KFC around this motherfucker somewhere. Where the fuck is that plastic fork? And then you never find a fork or nothing, right? So what do? Right? You grab a knife. You know how hard it is to eat soup with a knife? You kind of like splash it in your mouth, you know what I'm saying? That's just terrible. But the only time I'm not lazy when I smoke weed is when I'm cooking something in the microwave. Because what do? You set that microwave for like 3 minutes, and then you try and do as much shit around the house as you can. And get back to the microwave so you can open the door before it dings. You're like, oh, one, bam, I got you. Because nobody likes the ding of a microwave. Nobody. Hell no. So I give bad advice. I've been told this, I give really bad advice. I'll give you an example of how bad my advice is. My sister called me recently, and she locked the keys in the car, and she was outside Planned Parenthood. So she calls me up, she's like, oh, I locked my only set of keys in my car, I'm outside Planned Parenthood, what do I do? And I was like, oh, that's simple. You just gotta go inside, go to the front desk, tell them you made a mistake, you need a coat hanger. No, but speaking of abortion, I love Vegas. I love Las Vegas, right? Who doesn't love Las Vegas, you know? But when I go, I get, you know, you're supposed to get wasted when you go to Vegas, right? I get fucked up. I get way fucked up. Last time I was in Vegas, I got fucked up. And I ended up in a strip club full of chubby girls, which is fine because I was fucked up. I love it. Right? But I offended one of them, they kicked me out. And I didn't mean to offend her because she had her ass right there. And I went to snort a line of coke off her ass. Bam! It was a stretch mark. I know, right? I got worse, so the next morning I got kicked out of the hotel we were at first thing in the morning. And they kicked me out of the hotel for peeing in the pool. Right? I know, that's fucked up. I know, I was walking through with the guy. And I'm like, yo, man, why are you gonna kick me out for peeing in the pool? Everybody pees in the pool. And he had a simple answer. He looked at me and goes, look, I know everybody pees in the pool, but at least they have the self-respect to get in the pool first. So I live in a shitty neighborhood, right? Shitty neighborhood. I got a lot of ghetto people around. So it makes Halloween fun. You know, because they can't afford like real costumes and shit. So they gotta improvise. I had this little kid come up to me last Halloween, and he was walking up to the door. I seen him. He had little white sheet draped over him. You know, he had the holes cut out for the eyes. And I knew what he was, but I asked him. I was like, hey, little kid, what are you supposed to be? He looked at me straight up. He goes, my mom's mattress. Oh, I also love going to my grandma's house. You know, my grandma. I love going to her house because it's set up just like it was in 1956. All right, and all her shit still works. Like she has this old TV. You know, one of those with the dial. And it's only got 5 channels. You know, and the thing still works because after 11 p.m. it plays the national anthem all night. But the coolest thing she has in her house that still works, that's from the 50s, is her washing machine. Her washing machine still works, and I know it's from the 50s because it's still separated between whites and colors. I'll leave you guys with this. So yeah, let's leave you with a thought. Rat poison has an expiration date. Right? After it expires, does it become more or less deadly? Right? If you want to kill a rat, you don't want to make them sick. That's cruel. All right, thank you.
Jonathan Reaves. Did I call him Jonathan Brant or something? What was that? That's like his porn name. Yeah. Don't tell me you don't do porn with all those tattoos. Yeah, what a fucking fucked up host. Anyway, he was great. Jonathan Reaves. Jonathan Brant is wonderful as well. More power to him. You guys are great. All right, this next guy.